Welcome. Well, it's been a while due to player absences for holidays, missed sessions, etc., but we're back. You're listening to a Rolemaster Classic Actual play set in Terry K Amthor's excellent Shadow World using fantasy grounds. You can find session summaries, items, and characters on Obsidian Portal, where our campaign is called The Praise of Old Men. This episode is cross-referenced as Chapter 3, Demons of the Burning Night, Part 9. We're also on YouTube, Podbean, and Twitch, where you can find the various links, as well as an index of some of the main points of each episode in the description. Apologies for Stuart's mic this episode, it seemed to drop out more than usual. You're going to try a few mic in future episodes, and I'll talk about this at the end of this episode. Last episode, the party are able to breach the treasure room and loot some excellent gear, including a formidable legendary sword. They return to a central chamber to ponder a door to the southeast.
Beyond the door, you can see a set of stairs that lead down to what looks to be a pair of niches, and then another set of stone steps that lead down to a stone niche. You can just see the beginning of a final set of stone stairs, but these vanish underneath a door, which is closed. Just like the chamber on the other side of you, there was no warding sign. The sets of alcoves that you can see, both are quiet and empty, though there seems to be a wooden chest just across the left hand. First pairs niches. The chest itself, old and rusty.
Well, careful, Cherry. There'll be traps down there.
Well, I'm more curious about that chest. Do I have some kind of spear or something that I can use from this distance to poke it?
You don't have a spear, nor do you have that most useful Dungeons & Dragons on a 10-foot.
10-foot
I'm
pole.
going to shoot an arrow at it.
Okay. You unlimber your bow, string it, fire an arrow at the chest. The arrow strikes the wood of the chest with a meaty thump. Nothing seems to happen. The chest doesn't move, and if you were attempting to disarm a trap or trigger a trap, nothing seems. Numal and Cherry, you've come down the stairs. Can you give me perception roll? Make these very hard perception rolls. Cherry, you can hear a grating sound from the other side of the door south.
What kind of sound?
Stone grating on stone. Somebody's taken two stone blocks, scraping them against each other. Numal, you can't hear anything.
Anything down there, Cherry?
Well, an old wooden chest and some blokes somewhere scraping stones together.
Stone scraping? I can't hear that.
Yep. I don't see anyone in here though, and I think it comes from behind that door.
What's it sound like? Like a door scraping, or like millstone scraping?
Like two bricks.
Oh, weird.
On the floor, is it dust? Is there anything we can see, like tracks or anything, or is it that sealed off that's been no dust?
The floor is dusty, but not caked with dust. So over the years, stone has powdered. Rather, some of the stone ceiling has eroded and turned to powder, but there are no footprints, no obvious footprints. Give me a perception roll. You look closely to see if you can see any. No, the dust would be thick enough for you to see footprints. Obviously, Numal see what you're doing and follow suit. And similarly, there don't seem to be any footprints. Nothing has disturbed the dust. Nothing has come beyond to your south or down towards the door.
Stuart, the steps are going down, aren't they? Not
Yes,
up.
they are. So both steps go down.
Because Cherry and I are now on a lower level, do we have a better view of what's further down to the south?
All you can see is another pair of alcoves and another sort of sheave. Sharna, similarly, who comes down to join you. The chest across to your left is large, I suppose. It's 3 foot long. 2 foot deep, 2 foot high. The iron bands on the lid and around the body of the chest are rust pitted with age. There is no lock on the chest, however.
I want to check the stairs in front of me that lead
Okay.
down for traps.
Yeah, can you give me a medium perception roll in the tower, please, Cherry? Okay, thank you very much. Note the stairs are fine. The dust is laying disturbed, no hidden wires, and certainly pushing on the first couple of steps with stretched hand. They're solid stone.
The sound of the stone on stone, presuming hopefully Ogden can hear that now. Is it rhythmic? Is there any kind of pattern to it?
Give me a perception roll, please, everybody. As you listen and strain to hear the noise that Cherry she could hear. You can't hear anything.
Are you sure you heard something, lass? Anybody else see
Do you
anything?
think I am deaf?
What Cran, Cherry, and Silk? No, probably not. Cran and Cherry completely smell is something fetid and rotting, something decomposed. Either lower set of niches, side of the door, faint, sweet smell, decay.
So you said that smell was
Rot.
either the lower niches or from behind the door?
Yeah, it's up from either from the lower niches, the bottom of these stairs that Cherry stand, or on the other side of the door.
Oh,
Very,
don't go
very
down.
faint.
Don't go any
That
further,
indicates
Cherry.
if there is a... Sorry, go ahead.
Don't go any further, Cherry. There's some fetid stench I'm just getting a sense of coming from down there. Don't know whether it's in the
Yeah, I
little
smell it
alcoves
as well.
or the behind the door, but
I can't see anything in the alcoves. But is there no rhythmic sound to that stone scraping?
No, the scraping itself was not rhythmic. It was the sound as if one piece of stone had been dragged to a piece of stone.
Oi,
Okay.
Silk, Silk, can you close that door we just came through a second?
With me inside?
Yeah, we'll just see. Or you could be outside, love. It's just to see if it makes the other noise happen again.
Okay, I'll step outside. I'll close it.
Is there any noise?
Nope.
Well, open up again, lass.
Open it up again?
Yes.
Okay. I'll open it back up.
Okay, give me Cherry. Can you give me a perception roll?
ooh, nice.
As you listen again carefully, you can hear again the sound, but this time the sound of stone against stone now sounds like metal against stone. Cran, can you give me an intelligence?
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Stop laughing. Is that reasoning or so? In is intuition. isn't it?
Reasoning. No, I want. Give me a reasoning roll. Actually, a reasoning would be.
I think, therefore, I am.
Oh, belter.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Okay, Cran. Yes, the noise is. That could be anything,
Stand back, love.
but it's regular, so you can hear it sort of a snick, 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 snick,
And is it coming from behind the door?
coming from behind the door.
I want to collect the arrow from the chest and check the chest for traps.
Well, yeah. I'm just thinking, what's the purpose of this room? If there's something behind that door that opens up and flies down here, something mechanical, some trap-wise, or even just if it's fetid, it's something's rotting. I mean, let's be honest, this place has been open for thousands of years. Nothing should be rotten still, so that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, so I think it's a trap, probably, but
Yeah, so maybe we should
Well, that would
start clearing out.
that would explain the stone and metal scraping that I heard.
Has anybody got any wedges?
well, my shorts have gone up my arse, but I don't think that's what you mean.
That was going to be said.
I'm afraid not.
I'm just thinking maybe the door at Silk's beside, if that slams shut and people's inside is left with whatever happens, I don't think that's a good idea. If we can try and wedge that door somehow.
Nice idea.
Can't Silk just make that portal thingy again like he did?
That's an idea, or we could just grab one of those bloody great fallen pillars, manhandle that down there, and just use it to wedge in the door.
Why don't we use this chest and put that in the door so that it can't close?
Oh, let's not move the chest yet.
Could be the trap thing. So.
Big lad, I'd like that. Doesn't use any of Silk's power up, and we can just pop it down there. At least we can just jump over the pillar if we have to.
All right, so Silk, Cran will try and drag a piece of pillar, like 4 foot in diameter, and wedge it where the door would, to prevent the door closing.
Yeah, I'm going to help.
Okay, yep, you can shift some masonry across to make sure that slams shut on you. Yep, that's okay.
Well, that's the precaution. Now let's throw it to the wind.
Hang on a minute. Let's get everyone out of the passageway in case something comes flying up there like a ballista or something.
I would like to collect my arrow and check the chest for traps.
Okay. Give me a perception, please.
Before you open that, Cherry, by the way, can I just tie a rope round you just in case?
Sure.
Okay. As far as you can tell, the chest is not trapped.
Okay, and you said it wasn't locked, so I'm going to open it.
By the yard, you can see how much we trust Stuart, how much we're taking this so slowly.
Okay. Inside the chest, you can see what appear to be a section. The tools, however, though, somewhat unfamiliar to you. The tools are somewhat unfamiliar to you. There are some long-handled, delicate-looking forceps, very slender blades, tiny little hammers, look like a selection of pointed needles. All of them are still fairly well polished and in fact seem to have been oiled at some point before being placed in here for storage.
Can I still see the oil on the blade?
You can see a hint of oil on blades, yes.
So we can say, and the oil hasn't become all mushy yet. It still feels. What's the word for it?
No, the oil hasn't broken down or decomposed. No, the oil is intact.
Yeah, someone has been here recently.
Are you still alive?
No, I'm pretty much dead. That's why I'm talking now.
Okay, so is the chest open?
Yeah,
yes.
I'm gonna take out a small blade with oil on it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna walk back to the group. It's like there is a whole chest filled with stuff, really, and someone oiled it pretty recently.
Well, you don't know if it was oiled recently, but the oil is still intact.
Does it look like the embalming tools we've seen before?
Yes. Surgical instruments?
Yes, yes. It looks like, for those of you that know anything about surgery, embalming and so on, yes, there's a fine selection of embalming and surgical. In fact, the scalpel that Cherry holds is still very sharp.
Ooh, I'm going to have a good look at that then, and forget all about caution and run to the actual chest and start looking through all the surgical gear.
Okay. If you wanted to select a surgical set of apparatus, it will give you a +20 bonus to first aid, second aid, or surgery as skills.
Wow.
So if you put on your inventory sheet surgical tool, fine, they give you a +25 bonus to first aid, second surgery.
Wow.
Nice.
So they're not magical, but they're exactly the sort of tools you'd need to do something.
Did you say plus 20 or 25?
Excuse me, plus 25.
Wow, okay, thank you.
I'll put that stuff, the Obsidian Portal as well.
So
Nice.
what is this, by the way, what I'm holding? Is it a butter knife?
It will go through skin like butter. It's for using for
does
slicing.
So do my daggers.
Like, say you got something stuck in your leg, I'll use that, slice it straight in, and then be able to yank it out. And it'll make it such a fine slice it'd be quite easy to cut, to sew back up again.
Yeah. Not that Ugnan often has to use those skills, but should he, for any of you, be out of power, first aid, second aid, surgery, useful skills. Having said that, when you've got a healer that I can, hard to conceive when you'd need those skills, but certainly as a quite proud member of the session, quite like a fight.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's quite interesting that there's surgical or embalming instruments down here. It's almost as if someone's down here creating new mummies, maybe.
You've got a devious mind, Newell, and I think you might be correct.
Hey, I told you those things were oiled recently.
Mm.
Well, we'll soon find out.
Ugnan, give me a perception roll, please, in the tower. You can very faintly hear a voice from the other side, but you can't make out language or.
Ogden's going to walk to the other side of the door and have a good listen, and stop
Okay.
me if a trap happens.
Okay. Ugnan,
Numal's
you
going to follow.
come down the stairs, go first set of alcohol, stand. Actually, you've got a light source, haven't you?
Yeah, lantern.
You stand next to the door. Sharna, come behind in case you need any. And you listen carefully at the. Give me a perception roll. Again, you can hear a voice. It's very quiet. Person talking to himself, herself, itself. And after a while, you can hear the sound. Few seconds, is cutting into something, wood perhaps, and then there's a drawn out and sigh of satisfaction, you think. Then the sound of steel stone rhythmically, snick, and then silence again.
Does that sound, when it's rhythmically on the stone, does it sound a bit like Cran when he sharpened his weapons at night?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
That's what it is. You got it, haven't you?
So he's going to pull back a bit and go, I think it's something undead who still thinks it's a surgeon, maybe, or an embalmer. And I don't know what it's doing the other side, but it doesn't sound good. It's going to be a fight, I think, or if we can reason with this, great. But if the ward's down, it's probably full of demons.
Oh, fucking hell. Really?
Would always go back and close the door.
We could.
That's funny.
That's not what we do.
Murder hobos never do that.
Murder hobos.
We could. This is where I'll give you the speech about evil and how we should stamp it out wherever you see it. But really, I want to know what stuff it's got.
Well,
I want to see Shield Breaker in action.
If you see evil and stump it down every time you see it, does it mean that you're kind of evil yourself? So shouldn't you start with yourself?
Never. If evil exists, especially in demonic form, it needs to be snuffed.
Well, if we are, we're a good kind of evil, and a rich kind of evil. Cram, big lad. It's probably going to be a fight. What do you want us to do?
Well, what we could always do is like pull the door closed if we don't like the look of it.
This is not my office.
Yeah. Hello, I'm a photocopy repair. I think we should check in there. We're trying to find weapons to help us out, aren't we, to get that stone?
Yeah.
So
That's fine.
You never know. We could have an even sharper set of implements for you there in there.
Don't tease me, lad.
Excuse me, but someone seems to have misplaced surgical instruments in the hallway. Are they yours?
Yeah.
Right. I'll draw his axe, grab his shield in one arm, and then just hold the axe in his shield hand as he tries the door. Do you guys want to get back in case there's a bloody great fireball comes flying up the corridor or something?
Well, maybe let Sharna stand side by side with you there. There's enough. She's untouchable usually.
Yeah, Sharna's got. Sorry, Fox. Sharna's very, very good. Very, very hard to hit her. If she is hit, she'll drop fairly quickly, but she's very hard to hit. Okay, you can see a chamber which is all identical to the other dismal, dank chamber found that led on to the treasury. Again, there's a brazier in this, and again, the brazier is uplit. Around the room, you can see a number of upright sarcophagi. In the center of the room, you can see a low bench, and bent over the bench, you can see a strangely elongated humanoid figure. It almost looks like somebody has taken a regular human elf and just stretched them. The figure is perhaps 7 or 8 feet tall, very, very thin, clad in what looks like a dark pinstriped suit. The figure seems to be wearing a white overcoat. He doesn't turn or acknowledge your presence back to you. You can see he's bent over the bench. The figure turns and reaches behind him, picks up what looks like a bone, and again, without acknowledging your presence, he begins to deftly and carefully begin to remove the leg.
Sorry, Stu, you break up quite badly. I
Yeah,
think I kind of made out what that was.
I'm going to have to obviously invest in it. Yes, so the figure is very, very tall, is bent over a corpse, and deftly picks up a bone and begins to remove the leg of the corpse that lies in front. Well, at least you assume it's moving. Flesh, from what you can see, is grey, pink.
Oi, sawbones down there. What are you doing?
The figure abruptly stops, turns around slowly towards you. Very, very tall indeed. The figure doesn't seem much disturbed by your presence and just cradles the bones in 2 hands, grins at you, showing white, glistening teeth that seem as if they've been point. But he doesn't take a step towards you. He just looks at you.
Oi, John, I don't like the look of those teeth. He ain't human. Recognise it?
Do you say his teeth have been filed?
Filed to 4 points. Can you give me perception roll? The other thing that stands out about the figure is that as he looks at you, his eyes blank. That is to say, you can see where his eyeball should be. There's nothing there, just skin where his eyeball should be. So assume his eyes are open, but you can't see any. His teeth have indeed been point, but he doesn't take any step towards you. And as you your position at the step, he doesn't do anything at all. He doesn't seem particularly disturbed, doesn't seem particularly worried, and it doesn't look like he's going to take any offensive action. He just stands by the figure that he's operating on.
Can I shoot an arrow to the far left corner of the room and see if he turns to it?
So you can ready bow while we're at rest watch. As you ready your bow and aim, you can see the figure frown, takes a step forward, dropping the bones.
I drop my bow. I lower my bow.
I'm going to take a step. If he takes a step forward, I'm taking a step forward down the stairs.
Okay.
No further, sunshine.
If Silk can take a look at him with like a lure, just his look about him, demonic or whatever.
Does it look male or female?
Male, and certainly not human at all.
It reminds me of my dentist.
Do you know Katarine?
So the figure, as you mentioned, Katarine, the figure looks disturbed, worried, and anxious, and steps back.
Interesting.
Mate.
Well played.
Yeah, my memory's a bit hazy.
Katarine was the one who was basically, I think she was in charge of this whole complex. She's the one in charge of all the wards. If you remember that person who was lying down in a small finger bone, there was something scratched on it. And there's something like Katarine never told me, something like that, and there was something about the wards.
And that was in here we found that body, or in
your role as chief ambassador, I think you should do some questioning on behalf of a certain Katarine who sent us down here to investigate and take delivery of all of the useful stuff.
Well, it might be okay, but I've just said Katarine, but I don't think I can speak its language. Silk, can that spell? Is it only on you, or can it be put on other people?
Oh yeah. Let me check, and I start pulling out a book and start going. Now, what the hell spell list was that? Sound mastery or something?
Yeah, you had a spell that I think it was rather than language.
Yeah. Delving ways. There we go. Text analysis. Oh, it's text analysis. It's not speech.
Yeah.
So it was because I could read it. You can ask him to write things down.
Yeah.
If you'll complain.
Yeah, he should go with that.
Oi, Soulbone, do you understand me? Not if you understand me.
Well, it was worth a try.
Yeah, never mind.
Have to go through Route 1 then, big lad.
Hang on, I can try it again. Do you understand me?
If you shout louder, mate, sometimes that helps.
And if you start pointing at things, that also seems to do the trick. Oh, I make very big gestures with your hands, both of them at the same time.
Works every time.
Silk shakes her head. Racist bastards.
As anyone not living in Britain knows, the British are renowned for their mastery of many different foreign languages, so that never applies.
Oh yeah, definitely. Not a bunch of lazy sods.
Yeah, I should practice my French and German more.
Shout loudly and point, like you said.
Mons 2, Rodney, Mons 2. Yeah, well...
Cherry cringes.
Well, what do we want to do in there exactly? I know he's cutting some stuff up, but do we want to search the sarcophagi?
Well, I think the gentleman will get upset.
Well, we'll see how long we can keep this Katarine thing going.
Yeah.
The corpse that he's cutting up, does it look like one of these mummies?
Okay, so the figure has just got his back towards you now and is operating on what looks to have been a mummy. As you look more closely at the floor now, you can see a bundle of wrappings, bandages, which clearly this thing, whatever it is, has cut away.
And the corpse itself hasn't moved in any way, animated in any way?
No.
If we're lucky, people, he might have just taken care of all the mummies were in here. I mean, having a look at the sarcophagus around the side, are they closed or open or a mixture?
All but one are closed. One is open, and there's no mummy inside.
Can we try and light a brazier here?
You could do.
You could try. Well, I
if
don't know if I want to go in there.
To enter the chamber.
What happened?
I can't get through. There are like 4 people between me and the door.
What happened last time, Yard, was that there was some traps in the previous room, I think it was, which flung open all the lids, and we were swarmed by about 6, I think it was, mummies. So that might just happen here. I mean, I don't think so because there's a person walking around, but it doesn't mean there's not going to be 6. Well, we'll see how many sarcophagus there are here. There's 9. Is that 10? 10 sarcophagus.
Yep.
-1. Guess there's a dead thing on the table. But yeah, no, I can't get through, so I can't light the brazier.
Well, you can push your way through.
You can push your way through if you want to, Cherry, and light a brazier if you want. The others are hesitant to go into the room in case it disturbs whatever this thing is.
Well, we could just let it. I'm assuming it's gonna experiment on the rest of them as well, so we could just let it carve the rest up and then search. My gut feel there's nothing in there actually.
Yeah, same. On the west wall, is there any kind of apparatus? Any kind of niches?
You can't see anything on the western wall at all. It seems completely bare and devoid of any furnishings.
Does the figure have any weapons, or is the implement he's using look like similar to one of the implements that we found up in the chest?
Yeah, currently he has in his left hand what looks like a scalpel, and in his right hand a long pair of forceps. He seems to be pulling something out of the leg that he's just sawn off the corpse.
So our objective is to find weapons, and they don't look as if there's going to be too many in here.
Yeah, quite frankly, that last fight with those 6 odd mummies was a tough one, and I don't want to have to repeat that if I don't have to.
Yeah.
So we're gonna play another office part?
I think we withdraw.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Right, let's go back.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll say, Katerine, Katerine, Katerine a few times as we walk back away.
Okay, again, as you mention the name, he looks up. He doesn't turn to face you, but he certainly looks up. This is obviously a name that he recognises.
Well, we can always come back here if we don't have enough legendary weapons that we found.
And thank God Silk rolled high.
Yeah, right. I was like, oh no, it's demonic.
Yeah, good right, yeah, dead right. Let's get out of here.
Okay,
Let's
so
pick more
you
places to look
decide
at.
to leave the room and leave whatever this thing is alone.
Yeah.
Can
I'm going to close up the door.
Let me drag this thing out of the way. Got it. Right.
No. Drag it in, barricade it.
Cherry, I think you've got chalk. Can I borrow some? And can I try my best to try and redraw the ward on the door? On with the bits that's missing, just try and join those bits together.
Yes, that's not difficult.
Sure.
But the ward itself, part of the ward is not just drawing the symbol, but also empowering the symbol with the correct spell, and also using the correct material.
Okay, don't worry then.
So you could certainly do it, but there is a whole branch of magic around this, creating, crafting wards, warding signs, and so on.
Say, Silk, can you just patch this thing up? This ward?
She doesn't have the spells to do so. Like Ugnan, she could redraw things. It would take time because whatever you draw has to be geometrically perfect. But she just can't empower the spell because she doesn't have that spell lore yet. And if you talk to Silk, it's something that she's fought for a long time. She is always tempted by demonology, but knows that this could be a fatal weakness.
Yeah.
Silk is a powerful magician in her own right and has deliberately stayed as clear as she can from darker spells because she's not sure she can trust herself. You've already seen how little self-discipline she has at times.
Her eyes glow red.
I think that's fair comment, isn't it? Magic without.
It's completely fair, and she would have divulged that by now.
Yeah, I'm not saying that she will definitely turn evil if she has the opportunity, but she's
No,
the
no.
sort of caster who just doesn't have much self-discipline. And the nature of demonology and summoning demons is once you've summoned one or two and bound them, then why not summon more?
Well, that's it. Everybody knows that she does what she likes and she likes what she does. So
yes,
it's very easy to fall into it. So and mentioning the familiar earlier, she had a familiar, which she will tell you, and she lost it, and she couldn't bring herself to summon another one. Besides other things that she could possibly summon, she stopped that a long time ago.
You're a complex woman, Silk.
And just out of game, Matt, I have a note here in my notes on my character sheet on the 26th of March, no, January, February, March, April, saying, when you get to level 8, cast life typing on Silk. Is she a demon? A fae?
Oh, nice. I like it. And who knows, right? Who knows? That's awesome, though.
okay. So you've decided to leave whatever this strange creature is to his work, whatever it is. There are now just 2 doors against the western wall.
Go west.
Okay, so there are 2 doors. Cherry pauses near the nearest one. So I'm assuming that's the door that you want to check for traps first, please, Cherry. Give me a perception roll in the tower, please. This door has a familiar warding sign, but fortunately the warding sign is intact. Cherry, as far as you can tell, the door is not trapped, but it is locked. And the lock is a difficult one.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna try and pick it.
Okay, give me a very hard lockpick roll, please. This doesn't have to be in the tower. You'll know whether you succeeded or not. Nope, close, but not quite. But you haven't jammed the lock. Have another go. So she fiddles with the lock. She almost had it, but then the lockpick just slipped in her fingers.
Okay, Cherry's gonna stick out her tongue, trying extra hard to concentrate, and she's mumbling to herself how this fucking lock just doesn't want to cooperate.
And clearly swearing at yourself worked a treat. With a snick, both picks this time rotate the lock correctly, and you can open the door.
See, I speak its language, and I open the door.
Okay. Dominating this room, you can see a large, elaborate stone sarcophagus. Looks like this, ignoring the wall at the back. Now, you've seen a number of sarcophagi like this. The writing around the base of the sarcophagi is familiar to you, but is in a language that's unknown to you. Now, you can guess that it's something called Amarishi.
Silk.
So
read
cheer
this
up.
again.
We've got use for your.
Can you do your read thingy in a bit?
Yeah. I can help
I'm
him.
going to check this hallway and the stairs for traps.
Okay, give me a perception roll, please. And once you've been able to get a little bit closer, you can read the writing. So, Silk, if you want to cast your spell at some point.
You got. Oh, just one more.
Why waste those numbers when you don't need them?
I only need what I need, exactly.
So Silk almost fumbles the spell in her excitement to find out the writing. Who knew that Silk got exciting about writing on our ancient tombs? Cherry confirms that the stairs that lead down and the hallway are not trapped. So Silk and Cherry close on the sarcophagi and are able to decipher the writing. Okay, which I've just.
I want to step out of the way so that Silk can just run into the sarcophagus.
Okay. So the writing again seems to be somewhat cryptic. Never borrow the strength of another. To rely on one's own strength. To cut off past and future thoughts. And not to live within the everyday mind. Then the great way is open. whatever that means. Here lies Lady Jeason, beloved of the court, and Lord Argamenthor conscience, etc., etc. So if you recall, you found two other sort of elaborate sarcophagi, both of which house the mummified remains of an Amarishi lord or lady. The Amarishi are these winged angelic creatures, almost forgotten from the world.
It says you have to piss your pants.
Oh, is that where your leggings are always wet?
Oh, really? This last sentence.
Don't, otherwise I'm going to have to ask you to all make reasoning roll.
Oh, fun.
Opposed by Silk's presence.
Oh, I've got an acting skill. I chose it just to start lying properly.
Okay. So there is also a small hallway to the left, and there's a door there which is shut, and there seems to be a large lock mechanism in the centre of the door.
Well, these sarcophagus... Sorry, Cran, go
on. What are those faces in the corner of the room?
They're large urns. All four of the urns are stoppered. The urns are and they're made of porcelain. The urns are about 3 foot tall and about 1 foot wide.
Have we encountered them before? Something like it?
Yes.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few around. Agnes, do you reckon shall I winkle the old lid off?
They've been quite lucrative in the past, I think, and it's almost like they want us to have it to take the fight again. So, yeah, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like grave robbing. Actually, it feels like them giving us a gift.
Yes,
picking up the mantle, as they say, carrying a torch.
Cran, with the aid of somebody else, you can get Betsy in, and as you've quite professionally stated, winkle the sarcophagus up, and with Sharna's help, you can make strength rolls. So, Cran, give me a strength roll, please, and you can make that a light strength roll.
Ooh.
With Sharna's help and the aid of Betsy, get over 100, and you can just get that lid shifted off.
All right, here we go. Ha ha!
Not too sure how
Sharna looks at you and wonders why you made those noises at all.
How do you do a strength roll?
You go.
Okay.
You sound like me when I drop a pen on the floor.
It's on the main.
Do you know, I make those noises when I do my up. That's what goes to retirement.
Yeah, it's when you're over 50, getting out of bed, you make those sort of noises in the morning. So
it's terrible. I make them. I caught myself doing it today, and I was just picking up a piece of paper, and I thought, I know. And I honestly, I kid you not, fellas, I dropped the paper on the floor again, bent down to pick it up, and bugger, I made the same noise again. It is age.
Wow, yeah.
Age-related
all
noise.
of you who are younger than me.
No. Hey, after 40, that's it. It's downhill for everybody. So.
Yeah. There's no 40+ ninjas.
Right.
No, I'm gutted about that.
My 55-year-old business partner just completed an Ironman last week, so it's...
Wow.
Oh, he can fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry,
I agree.
Exactly.
And now that goes on the taster.
I think it's going to be a lot of editing. Okay, so inside the sarcophagus, yet again, you can see what is clearly a carefully and reverently wrapped body of a tall humanoid. The Amarishi were tall specimens. This one is approximately 6 feet, so perhaps slightly shorter than the other two that you found. Resting on top of the white linen, which is still a glistening, almost white, there are a pair of leather and steel arm greaves and a silver torque. A torque is sort of a solid sort of thing that you'd wear around your neck. The torque is engraved with the sign of a bear. The folded arms of the figure cradle a large black warhammer.
RB.
Shall we get looting?
Okay.
Anything
Just
in
take
here
it. Take.
magical, Silk?
Just let me. Like in the translation there, it talks about relying on one's own strength, and I almost want to say maybe let's not loot this one yet. Let's take a look around
Okay.
for the one other.
Oh, I reckon Sharna would love those bracelets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this could be certainly the Warhammer is enchanted, the Torque is enchanted, so are the bracelets. And as you've said before, these are items that you as a group would normally hesitate to rob graves. That's not really what you guys as heroes do. All joking aside, you've never kind of killed things and then, right, now let's grab their stuff. You've always been much more heroic, and you're certainly white hat wearers. But these sarcophagi that you've looted, you almost feel that this is part of your destiny.
Oh yeah, it's our mission right now is to find these kind of things.
Okay.
It's the greater good and the lesser evil.
Yes.
I wave at it and I say, "Have at it." And yeah, I'll share any information that I know from.
Okay, so again, those items I'll put on as well, and you can discuss, claim, distribute them as you see fit. I'll get the portal updated tomorrow with all of the items that you found and make sure everything's there. I'll double check your notes, John, the party notes at the end of this session.
Yeah, I'm kind of handwriting this. I'm not copying all of the information down.
Don't worry about it.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I'll double check everything.
Presumably, Sharna is a mentalist user.
Yes.
It says on the sheet that I'm an essence.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah, she's an essence user.
Well, and that's it. It's a
Shame.
mentalism user or mentalist, because there is a mentalist.
No, she's a essence spell user.
Yeah, the
Or
Chokadar bracelets is a mentalist. They help
Yes.
support. The Torque would be very useful for Sharna or Kran. They're both got high constitutions and both frontline fighters.
Oh, any stuns to shake off. Yeah,
amazing.
frontliners.
Yeah, and the Warhammer, don't really know. I mean, Warhammers, are they one-handed?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One-handed.
So that would be incredibly useful for a kind of backup weapon for Numal or even Cherry maybe, or even Ugnan the axe wielder.
Well, maybe, yeah. Torque, I prefer really probably for Kran to have it. The reason being is Sharna's normally very good at actually just dodging, whereas you do take hits as you go along, so you're more likely probably to get stunned. I mean, I do know that when Sharna gets hit, then she gets hit.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, I guess. Well, we don't necessarily need to divide that out now. Let's talk when Craig's around, or set up a chat once we know everything in the pool. Wow, that's
and the Warhammer, Stuart. My skill ranks are on hand axe, so presumably that's just again be an untrained skill.
Yes. So the Warhammer, unfortunately, although it's a one-handed weapon, one-handed, not one-handed edged. So your axe is a one-handed edged skill.
Yeah.
So you could use half of that skill with any other one-handed edged weapon, but a Warhammer isn't. So you'd use it untrained.
Okay.
But of course, go up a level, put a few points in it, just get +5, and you immediately got +25. So it could be a nice, for you eventually, a backup weapon or a main weapon.
Yeah.
So I think we should be generous and give. When I'm reading that, don't just take from the sarcophagus, put stuff in for her. Maybe holy water as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I'm not sure if it's being too literal, but
it's just a noble thing to do as well.
Yeah, so Crano, I mean, he's got so many damn weapons, so you can afford to give one up. I'm going to pick a. Oh, I forgot about that on the foul had that had been quite useful earlier. I'm going to pick a two-handed sword +10 out.
Yeah.
Of the array of bristling weapons sticking out from behind his back, and reverentially lay it in the sarcophagus, wrapping her hands around the hilt in like a Viking glory and combat death type way. And
so Just for the new folks, Cran looks like the Game of Thrones throne.
Yeah, I must have like 10 weapons I'm carrying. I wouldn't be allowed in an MRI machine, put like that. So.
No. Okay, so you take a great two-handed sword and replace the warhammer with that two-handed sword.
Yeah, and I'll make some abeyance and like whatever Cass's sign equivalent to making the cross symbol. I will do that as he kind of worships Cass.
So we do that before we remove anything, right?
Yeah. You can. So you can do that. I mean, certainly, you paused and looked at the writing carefully enough to do something a little bit more reverently than just looting the thing and then putting some stuff in or tossing some weapons in there. Yep, you can do that. Okay.
Nice.
Nothing seems to happen.
And I'll just say,
you all feel that you've done something good. You've done something well, something appropriate.
And I'll just say, Lady Jason, I believe our need is for battling a great evil and is greater than yours now. However, I don't want you to be weaponless wherever you may be. So this is for you. As he kind of muttered that very self-consciously under his breath as he said that, and then grab the warhammer and the other stuff out of the sarcophagus. Right, let's get this loaded up.
I'm going to wander by and just pat him a couple of times on the back and nod, and then not say anything, carry on walking.
Okay.
Thanks.
So there is an elaborate lock on the door in front of you, if you wish to explore that.
Could we look at the copper urns in the corners?
Yep, you can. If you have a look at them, they're all tall and they're stoppered. You'd have to remove the stopper, Sharna, to investigate the urns. The stoppers are made of cork, you think, but then have been waxed over and sealed.
Do you think? Shall I open it up?
I don't think we've opened one yet, have we?
I don't think we have.
So maybe one of us should open it, and the rest of us should be out of the room just in case there's anything gaseous.
I just thought I put the sword down, and it did say rely on one's own strength.
Well, how about we open one when we are done and exit the room?
Yeah, go look at this door first and then do it at the end, yeah.
Okay. Cherry. The door then has got an elaborate lock mechanism on it.
Gonna check if the traps first.
Off you go. Can you give me a very hard perception roll in the tower, please? Okay. Thank you very much.
I'd like to just double check her work, especially since Bosco's not here, so he can't tell me off.
Okay.
Yes.
The door itself is different from the other doors that you've seen because there seem to be some fine black lines that crisscross the door, the wall, and an area of the floor just in front of the door. Alarmed by this, you check the door perhaps more carefully than you've checked some of the others. And there is the door is trapped, but it's not a simple mechanical trap. You can see that the ceiling is rigged to perhaps collapse or do something, but you get a tingling from the door as well, as if there's a magical ward embedded in the door.
Silk, can you stand precisely where I am standing and then check the door? Do not move closer under any circumstances, or else that ceiling is gonna say hi to your head.
Silk, can you give me again a hard perception roll, please, in the tower? Well, the black veining that you can see, Silk, is familiar to you, and as you walk closely, you feel a little bit nauseous. The black veining is Kregora, or a material like Kregora, which is designed to block the use of magic, particularly essence. So whatever enchantment is on the door is highly unusual since the door itself is veined with Kregora.
Wow.
Can you give me, Silk, you're actually, I keep forgetting that obviously as an elf, as a wood elf, you're older than anybody else. Can you give me a memory roll, please? Thank you. Silk, you know that Kregora would block the use of and make it very difficult to use, cast, essence, mentalism, and channeling spells. Those are the three conventional realms of magic. Channeling being divine, mentalism coming from the person, and essence tapping into external forces, essence, power, ley lines, etc. However, if there's a magical trap on this door, the only way that would work is if somebody has somehow fused or welded together essence, mentalism, and channeling. Now, you've heard of people called and lore masters who were able to weave those different spell realms together. They would be archmages. It's not as if they didn't so much draw or have a fourth realm of magic, but they were able to draw from two realms or three realms simultaneously. They were masters of magic. So whoever has put a trap on that door has been able to use Kregora and overcome the Kregora by wielding and weaving spells together.
That's like godlike, basically. Then.
Very, very high, yes.
Yeah, so I'll relay that to everybody and say, no, they don't want people in there. There's got to be some kind of a key or warding mechanism to get rid of the effect that it produces here. Perhaps one of the weapons waved in front of it, touching the door. Perhaps, I don't know. I can touch it. You want me to touch?
No, hang on.
No.
So I'm gonna self-consciously think clearly as I can, and think a thought about speaking to this sword and say, Shieldbreaker, if I touch you to the door, will the door open for me?
Okay.
So, what are you doing?
Nothing.
She approaches the door.
Quick grabber.
There is no answer from the sword at all. So you can draw the sword and it immediately begins to emit this low thumping noise. And there's a dull gleam from the blade. But there's no answer in your head, Cran.
All right.
Sword is more of an emotional communicator rather than a voice speech
physical one. All right.
Communicator.
I'm going to get the sword and hold it by just under the crosspiece on the blade, and present it, point down towards the door, and then move up to touch it, feeling a bit of an idiot doing this.
Because we know Cran doesn't know physics, that you shouldn't touch maybe possibly electrical thing with a metal item.
What's physics?
That's all right. He's got rubber boots.
He damn well doesn't. They're still toe cap bastards, I tell you.
Okay. So nothing happens, Cran, and then you touch the highly enchanted metal door with your brand new shiny magic sword in a slightly sweaty hand. Nothing happens.
Oh, thank God for that. I nearly saw my armor.
Well, yes, I wanted to draw it out and say, well, the faint smell of ozone, the hairs on your hand go up. The air goes white and then blue. No, nothing happens.
Well, I think it's open.
And the door remains closed.
That didn't work. Stupid idea. I'll resheath the sword.
So you can try and pick the lock. You can try and disarm the trap. But obviously, if you get either of the two wrong, the consequences could be serious. Obviously, Silk has warned you that whoever enchanted and crafted the lock was very, very powerful indeed.
Well, I could drink out the horn, and then you could have to stick the talk of resilience on. That can't hurt. and then I don't know what else will help. I don't think we're capable of going
through
through
that
there.
hole diggy thing again.
Well, that's it. I mean, just if this is so warded, why don't we go into this other door and see if there's anything in there to help, or at least for completionism. Silk said.
There might be
Purposes.
another portal in there. So
Let's check that place out first.
What if the portal will help? Yeah,
You mean on that chest?
yeah, we could use the portal.
Yeah, I know, like an infinite number of possibilities. Of course, it's going to be in that room.
But the Kregora line door here, though, will prevent us from casting Pit to get past it. Will prevent us from casting Portal on it. So, yeah, it's basically a get out of jail free card for us accessing it.
Well, won't it prevent us casting it there, though? Is it 5 foot or 10 foot pit? Sorry, by there I meant southeast in the little 10 by 10 room.
Yeah.
Oh, for Ugnin.
The Scion.
Yeah. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, we could try.
There might be, if it's like that previous place we found right the way down there with a kind of room back to back with another, it might even touch.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you could try that.
Yeah, then again, we are like, it's almost like a tunnel, and we're not shoring up with anything, so that could be a problem.
Right.
Other thing I thought as well is casting a earth wall above the doorway, so if there's anything in the ceiling does fall, the earth wall will catch it.
I said it.
But I don't think it'll stop. I don't think it will stop the enchantment on the door, though.
No, well, then it stops the rocks from falling on me picking the lock.
That's the idea. But if you want to check the other door first,
that's a reassurance.
Well, this is the truth here. Is I'll get close again, and I'll kind of. Where does it stop feeling prickly? Like here, here.
Yeah. So if you let me sort of draw that as a box.
Because then anything inside of there you can't cast inside of. It'll just.
Let me try that again. So basically, anything sort of there-ish.
Gotcha. So yeah, nothing. You know what I mean? If you start the spell anywhere inside of there, it won't be created. It won't be effective.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah.
And if you start the spell outside it and have the range push in?
No, the Kregora both stops you casting the spell within its area of effect and a spell-like thing happening in its area of effect.
Well, whoever cast that must have been immensely powerful and wanted to keep something in there very badly.
No, that or keep undesirables out.
Which, being honest, I want to get in there very badly.
You are the undesirable, yes.
It could be 2,000-year-old brandy in there. Just think how good that would taste.
Have a load of books.
Yeah, we could warm the brandy up by setting fire to the books, I suppose.
Oh, sacrilege!
Okay, so where next? You've got two options. You can explore the chamber, the door just to the north, or you've come up with a suggestion of maybe forming some sort of tunnel from that alcove room that is on your map.
Should we try that? Should we try the tunnel option? Trying to cast that pit underneath that wall again, as leaving like a 2 or 3 foot gap this side, and hopefully it'll be enough space to get into the room if there was a room behind there.
I like the north door first.
That's a bit of a metagaming here. I guess we're not really mapping it that accurately, so I may not know exactly that it's quite close, basically. So sorry about that.
Yeah, do you want some kind of roll, Stuart? Like a
roll to see if
No, I don't think so. I mean, you know that there's. I mean, having had these suspicions, you could have paced it out and thought, well, those two look fairly close. Another group might have thought, why is there an alcove here? It's a bit suspicious. Have we searched the back of that alcove for a secret door? And at that point, it might start leading you to think, well, it must go somewhere. No, I'm not going to worry too much about it.
And also, it leads to a room full of lava. So
exactly, it's having given you all these shiny, I'm going to laugh my arse off and turn them into slag
as we glow.
Small tactical nuclear explosion happens.
There's nothing like giving somebody the +5 holy defender at level 9 and then an hour later, having it destroyed by, I don't know, a rust monster.
Yep. Portals with the plate of Chernobyl.
Or a hot bath.
Okay,
Mhm.
so the idea is then for Ugnan to use his well-known ability to place high-level spells exactly where he wants them.
Oh yeah, I get pretty good at it now.
Famous last words. At which point, Silk does her usual and says, well, I'm going to stay in another room. Okay.
Actually, I think I don't even have to be that close. Got a 50-foot range.
Okay.
Right, so
And-
the usual story going to have to be 27 or more.
And how big is what are the dimensions pit again, please?
Okay, so assuming again it's stone, because Earth it's quite massive, but with stone, it's 500 cubic feet.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is extend it as far forward as possible, but trying to think about where the Kregora might kick in. So probably as close as I can get up to where I think the Kregora is. Again, if you want me to make a roll, then fine, and then make it almost like a tunnel. We're gonna have to shuffle
Well,
through.
essentially, you're going to start your tunnel and have it extend as best you can,
Yeah.
or as far as you can. All right, give me that roll first of all.
Okay, 27 or more.
He is indeed getting better at it.
Nice.
Okay. So
He did
yes,
it?
yeah, he did. How dare you.
Cheeky cow.
So you create a pit which extends and then stops abruptly at a stone wall, which unfortunately is lined with black veined Kregora, stopping your pit going any further.
I can't get it any further. It's the stuff again.
Ah, bollocks.
Makes sense. It was a good try, though.
Not bad.
You could, if you had time and comfortability, shore up your pit. You could, of course, now attack that wall with pickaxes.
Just mundane items, yeah.
I'm just worried about if it's something that's there with a lot of thought about what they're trying to shield, and we go in and completely smash it open. What are we letting free, or what have we done, which is irreversible?
Yeah. You're assuming that the lock is to keep people out. You don't know if it's there to keep something in. Silk will probably know of Kregora mostly because it is one of the sure ways that you could shackle a magician or any powerful spellcaster just by getting them to wear a pair of Kregora made manacles.
Cherry love, you've done it a few times. You've sometimes thought about if you did something, what might happen. Could you not think about if you went through that door, what would happen? Or if we cracked open that wall and what would happen? Anything like that?
Okay, so Cherry has an item which allows her to cast basically she can look, if she makes a successful spell roll or a successful roll, she can look forward about 10 minutes into the future and get a vague sense of what will happen. She won't know details, she will know exactly what's behind the door, but she will know whether something good or bad will happen. So, Cherry, I think it's a ring that you're wearing which gives you that power. I'm just checking your inventory.
I think it's like intuition. It might be a spell list. It might be intuition or something like that.
Or is it a spell list? Actually, I could be. Yeah, she's got spell list.
Wow.
Sorry,
That's
she's got
awesome.
divisions. That's right. She's got intuitions. So you get to gaze 3 minutes into the future if you can cast your spell. So you'll get a vision of what happens.
Yes,
Wouldn't it be more useful to me trying to pick that lock and then use that beforehand so that I get a rough idea of what I need to do with that lock then?
You can't use an intuition if you pick a lock, if that's what you're asking.
No, but if I cast that spell on me trying to pick the lock.
Oh right, so yeah, so you can.
And then I get an idea of how I need to open that lock.
No, it won't. It won't increase your chances of picking the. It'll just tell you what will happen if you try and pick the lock.
Yeah, and also if you have picked the lock and it opens up a greater demon of the pale, then we're dead. So it's a bit worrying.
But yeah, it's like a movie camera drone that follows you around and shows you what would happen if you do a certain.
So to cast the spell, Cherry, basically you've got 8 power points. The spell will cost you 3 power points. All you need to do is roll higher than a.
And that's an open-ended roll, right?
Yep. There you go. 27. Okay,
So I want to know what will happen if we enter the room.
Right. If you enter the room, you can see that there are a large of chests, a large number of urns, and you could be very wealthy indeed.
But there are no creatures moving around.
You don't get the sense there you're not going to be attacked, so there are no guardian chamber as far as you can tell. But there is a great deal of wealth. When I say there are lots of chests and urns and coins, that's more a feeling. If you can get into the room, you will be very wealthy.
So, all right, guys.
But at the same time, if you fail to pick the lock, and if you fail to pick the lock, you can't get in. If you do not deal with the trap, the chances are that at least 2 of you will die. Whatever is warding the room is a very powerful trap indeed.
All right, guys. So if we get into that room, we're going to be rich.
Yeah.
I don't get a sense that we're going to be attacked.
Okay.
Open the door. However, failing to do that might get us all killed.
So what I'm hearing is you're going to open the door and we're going to stay here.
Hang
on a minute.
We use my tools so well. Please do try.
We're not here, are we, to just like steal coin? We're here to find weapons and stuff to help us get through.
Yeah, and that's it.
I agree.
Silk is not into, treasure herself.
We've made enough coin as it is. We're not greedy people. This is here to aid us in our quest and our mission.
It is not coin. Lots of chests, lots of urns. So there could be even, indeed, weapons in there, or armor, or more of those fancy robes that I now want. I do need to get myself something made like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right, guys, it's coming up to 10:30, so I'm going to pause it there while you decide whether you want to leave Cherry here to pick the lock while the rest of you retreat, probably back to Selkai in case anything goes wrong. Tunneling into the room seems to be impossible. Cherry is debating, probably arguing with herself whether she wants to risk setting off the trap. Some of you obviously don't feel the need to become wealthier, although Cherry's not convinced that there's just monetary wealth on the other side of that door. There could indeed be items, artifacts. You've got one other door that you can explore, and I think as Ugnan and maybe Cran discussed, you could find the key to this treasury if you explore the last bit.
We have found a key. We have got a large iron key. Where does this fit? Written by it.
It's not Betsy.
We've also found 4 keys to the Chamber of Heroes, but that was different.
Yeah.
And that's a good summary there by Stuart at the end. So not an awful lot for me to say, other than sorry for some of the quality of the audio in this episode. We're going to try Stuart out on a new mic to see if it's his mic or if it's the actual connection. You'll see that in a couple episodes' time. There's a bit of lag, by the way, when we do our sessions and how long it takes to edit and put these out. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for subscribing. If you've seen this on YouTube, you can always listen to us on Podbean, iTunes. And the other way around, if you're listening, you can always watch this on YouTube. You can contact us in the different ways listed in the description. Once again, thanks very much for listening. Catch you in the next episode. Bye.